You should have solar. You should have wind. Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery?
It's all happening at the WF. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today we've got Justin Trudeau, not once, but twice getting absolutely humiliated on the street. And what is so beautiful about the one that Ezra Levant does with Justin Trudeau is he embarrasses Trudeau beyond belief in front of Katy Perry. Her face says it all. And go over to Mark Carney's question period, a couple of his points where he's lying on camera or fudging the numbers to try to make himself seem better than Donald Trump. Got some other updates here. Let's jump into this. Starting this one off, we've got China calls for the United States to return to the rules-based trade system. Yeah, because we're going to take orders from Xi Jinping? No. With that, we have Donald Trump. His plane had to turn around, which you can see here. It took off and then it turned back around and went and landed. Apparently, there was an electrical problem on his plane as he was flying over to Davos. So apparently, he switched over to another plane and this shouldn't affect his appearance at the WF later today. We also have Chrystia Freeland spotted at the WF. Not surprising. Katie Telford, Justin Trudeau, Mark Carney, all of these guys are over there. Melanie Joly, Francois-Philippe Champagne, they're all at the WF. Next up is a beautiful thing. We've got Ezra Levant just making a mockery of Justin Trudeau. You can see Katy Perry here. Really, this is the face you want to watch. Look how embarrassed, humiliated she is of Justin Trudeau.
Who paid for you to come here? Was it taxpayers? What do you make of the Federal Court of Appeal upholding the ruling that your martial law was illegal? They said you violated...
Look at her face. She is so unimpressed. I don't think she realized what she was getting into. And this is not attractive at all to have people just hounding and slamming questions onto Trudeau. I can't imagine she's feeling all lovey-dovey with him by the end of the day here.
It's good to see you, Ezra. It's been a long time. How you been? How you been keeping?
Pretty well, but
you
didn't speak to me the whole...
I'm worried about you.
I don't think you have.
You stopped speaking to me after the boxing match. I never heard from you again.
That's not true. Every time we tried to come into contact with you, you had us arrested.
I never had you arrested.
You beat up my colleague David Menzies. Your bodyguards did. Your personal bodyguards beat up David Menzies.
RCMP, the official police of Canada that you're speaking against?
Yeah.
Well,
I think
if you're not going to trust our institutions, Ezra, there's a problem there.
I think our institutions have been weakened by you, to be quite candid.
The brass of the RCMP, the top level, cannot be trusted because they've allowed Trudeau to get away with all this stuff. SNC Lavalin, he should have been charged for that. What happened with the Freedom Convoy and the Emergencies Act, he should be charged for that. There's time after time where they just let everything slide. They don't investigate. Oh yeah, we'll look into that later. They never do.
It's your right to believe that and to feel that. And that's certainly something that you've continued to spread. People not trusting our institutions. A certain skepticism is important.
Look at her body language, absolutely wild. She can't look at Trudeau. She didn't even want to be behind him. She stepped in front because she doesn't want to see this side of Trudeau. She's seeing the real side where people absolutely hate this guy for destroying Canada, for making life miserable, for forcing pokey pokes on people that have caused awful problems, ended people. She's seeing the real side of what this guy's done, and she doesn't like the ugly side.
But spreading of misinformation and disinformation is just irresponsible. I think you know that, Ezra. But you've got a good little gig coming on. You've paid for all these people to come to Davos. I encourage you to continue to ask questions and challenge people, but to try and do it in a way that is grounded in facts and reality.
You've introduced more censorship.
Thank you very much.
A conversation is not you lecturing me. A conversation is a back and forth, not you just lecturing people. You misunderstand.
Ezra is so good on his feet with snappy comebacks and just laying it out straight. I mean, this was a lecture. Trudeau's being condescending. He's a jerk, as he always is.
Spend your time lecturing and haranguing people and creating outrage. There's no need to...
You introduced more censorship bills than any other kind of bill. You don't believe in free speech. C-63 and all your other bills are about squelching people who you disagree with.
As well, you continue to make your points, and you're more than welcome to.
Well, so far, but not if you get your way.
Ezra, I think you know that.
I feel like you owe the Canadians an apology.
Look at this. This is absolutely wild. So Katy Perry is just disgusted with Justin Trudeau. And what does he do? He stops for a selfie here.
Have a good day, sir.
I feel like you owe the world an apology for your behaviour during COVID.
Have a good day, sir.
Is it bizarre not being able...
Please don't knock into me. I appreciate you respect.
Well, your security was just pushing us around before.
Of course.
Look at this. She wants the selfie. He's like, oh, of course. He can't help himself.
He still gives selfies. You got to hand him that. He won't talk to reporters, but he'll do a selfie.
I just spoke with you for.
Look at this grease ball.
He'll do a selfie.
I just spoke with you for 5 minutes.
You spoke at me for 5 minutes. You didn't answer any questions. You spoke at me, which is your style, isn't it? You don't do well with dissent.
He's left all alone. Katy Perry left him.
You going into any meetings here?
Davos is about meetings. Davos is about connecting with people and talking about how we can continue to put people's success at the center of everything we do.
Are you going to meet?
Got fluttering in his voice. He's noticeably shook. And I think he's shook because he let go of Katy Perry's hand so he could go do a selfie with that other girl. And then she took off. And she's actually with, I think, another security. She's way further up. He doesn't like that. She's not by his side. I think that rattled him.
Up with Mark Carney when he arrives?
I have always happy to speak with any leaders, including my friend.
And how do you think he's?
Including his friend Mark. And other things, I don't think he's being used to hounded anymore. It's been about a year since he's really been hounded by the media. So you can see Katy Perry with the other security guard here. I'm guessing she didn't feel that safe, or she didn't like being hounded, but also disgusted with Trudeau. It was all over her face.
Challenges around the world.
How do you feel about the looming referendum for separatism in Alberta? Have you followed the separatist movement in Alberta?
Very familiar with all the various challenges in Canada, and will continue to trust Canadians' thoughtfulness and unity.
Would you be part?
Trust Canadians' thoughtfulness. This guy absolutely hates Albertans. He's the one who created the movement.
Part of a no campaign on that? Would you weigh in on that campaign?
Yeah, all Trudeau's got to say is, We're jumping over to a question period that Mark Carney had after his speech, where he basically fudges some numbers, he lies, he does what Mark Carney does.
In your speech where you said sovereignty now is the ability to withstand pressure. Isn't Canada almost uniquely vulnerable to pressure because of the extent of your trade dependence on the United States?
Well, the proof is that we have been able to withstand the pressure, and there has been considerable pressure. I'll give you a couple of facts. We've actually created more jobs since the tariffs were put on than the United States in absolute number.
Carney's wording there was very specific. He said absolute number, and he knows full well why. It's because Donald Trump bringing out this whole tariff strategy has resulted in major trade wars with China, with Canada, which has resulted in a lot of job losses. Not to mention they let go a whole bunch of people from the government. Meanwhile, Mark Carney's hired a ton of people onto the government, a lot of them part-time workers. Essentially, he's trying to cherry pick data to make himself seem better than Trump, better than America. It's ridiculous. America's economy is 13 times bigger than ours.
Economy is growing at the second fastest rate within the G7. That's not there.
Our economy is growing the second fastest rate in the G7. The reason why Canada's economy is the second fastest growing in the G7 is because they're bringing in so many people, which is absolutely breaking our country. If you saw the previous video, they have over 1 million people in the immigration backlog now. This isn't something to brag about. Carney really knows how to fudge the numbers. And let's point out, he's wearing this Order of Canada pin once again. This guy will never wear a Canada pin. He doesn't care about our country. He'd rather brag with his Order of Canada pin than stick a Canadian flag pin on his suit here.
There are pockets of extreme pressure without question in Canada. But headline, we're reacting. The second thing, and it's a fundamental point, is the recognition that we can give ourselves far more than any foreign country can take away.
Okay, I've already disproved this on a video. There's no way we sell to ourselves at the same rate that we sell to America. They have 340 million people, something like that. We have 42 million people. They have almost 10 times more people. We can't give ourselves more than they can take away. All this junk canned line that he always says, his slogan. This relationship between Trump's administration and Mark Carney is really coming to a head here. Listen to what Howard Lutnick has to say at the WF.
Well, I think you should start at a much higher level. Okay? We are in Davos at the World Economic Forum, and the Trump administration and myself, we are here to make a very clear point. Globalization has failed the West and the United States of America. It's a failed policy. It is what the WEF has stood for, which is export, offshore, far shore, find the cheapest labor in the world, and the world is a better place for it. The fact is, it has left America behind. It has left the American workers behind. And what we are here to say is that America First is a different model, one that we encourage other countries to consider. which is that our workers come first. We can have policies that impact our workers. Sovereignty is your borders. You're entitled to have borders. You shouldn't offshore your medicine. You shouldn't offshore your semiconductors. You shouldn't offshore your entire industrial base and have it be hollowed out beneath you. You should not be dependent for that which is fundamental to your sovereignty on any other nation. And if you're going to be dependent on someone, it darn well better be your best allies. Okay? And so that is a different way of thinking. It is completely different than the WEF. I viewed the WEF as not a flagpole in the middle, but in fact, they are the flag. Whichever way the wind blew, so it blew. You should have solar, you should have wind. Why are you going to do solar and wind? Why would Europe agree to be net zero in 2030 when they don't make a battery? They don't make a battery.
You can't argue that point. Why would they do it? Because they're all pushing a grift that all goes back to China.
If they go 2030, they are deciding to be subservient to China, who makes the batteries.
That's right. You can't argue the points there. What the European Union, Australia, and Canada are doing is not logical. It only benefits China and people holding shares in those companies like Mark Carney.
China is welcome, but what we need is more Chinese foreign direct investment in Europe in some key sectors to contribute to our growth, to transfer some technologies, and not just to export towards Europe some devices or products which sometimes don't have the same standards or are much more subsidized are the one being produced in Europe.
These countries are compromised, and everyone in the comments asking, what's with the sunglasses? Why is he wearing sunglasses? Doesn't want to show his black eye? We're jumping over on CTV here, talking about the Greenland situation. Once again, they're not covering both sides of this.
China, but more importantly, Russia, must be just delighting in this rift within NATO that President Trump has created for reasons that escape me, to be honest. There's no imminent threat on Greenland. There certainly is a need to bolster Greenland's defense in anticipation of potential Russian military action sometime down the road, but not imminent. But NATO's been doing...
So what is it? Is it Donald Trump rolling in with the tanks, or is it Russia? Which one is the threat here? Not only that, I mean, you're going to point out that China and Russia are relishing this situation. Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they like that NATO's having this little kerfuffle. Why aren't they pointing out that Carney just did a deal with dictator Xi Jinping, kowtowing to the dictator, bending the knee?
That's since I was at NATO 2015 to 2018. They've been doing more, exercising more. NATO allies have been exercising more in Greenland precisely to deter a Russian threat.
So apparently all those exercises that they're doing right now was pre-planned. And there was some rumor saying that Donald Trump didn't know that, and that's why he's taking offense to that. So if that's the case, then it just supports Donald Trump's narrative that Russia plans to take over Greenland or invade it or whatever, because they keep doing exercises there. So this whole situation is really messy. It doesn't line up.
General Lawson, I think, it certainly we heard from that clip in Mr. Dissent, was referencing sort of the feeling from the White House that this is a strategic asset. But there have also been points at which President Trump has not ruled out, not just economic force or tariffs, but actual military force. And that happened as recently as today when NBC News, in a phone call interview, asked him about using force. His only response to that was no comment. What do you take from that?
Well, I think it is unlikely that the president will actually land troops in an aggressive fashion in Greenland, but I don't...
There it is. They're saying it on here. Keir Starmer said the same thing. Donald Trump's not going to land troops. He's not going to invade, yet they're all overreacting to it. Can we just have some common sense here? Obviously, Donald Trump is bolsterous. We know how this guy negotiates. That's what he does. Regardless, he said he wants to make an offer to buy them. Step back, let Marco Rubio go in there, do his thing, offer them some money, 10 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand, is it $1 million? The people of Greenland will decide how much money they want. Yet the media just keeps running this like Donald Trump sending in the tanks, and then they back backtrack and say, well, I don't think he's actually going to roll in the tanks.
I think it matters too much. I think there's such damage being done to the point that both the minister and Kerry Buck just made. I think it's drawn a huge focus off of where that focus should be. As Kerry Buck said, the Russians will be celebrating right now because space is being given for them to prosecute their illegal and horrific war against Ukraine at a very time that NATO, including the U.S., should be laser focused on what's happening there. That's an existential threat that could come to bear on NATO.
Now, what's an existential threat is Canada's Prime Minister just did a deal with 2 dictatorships, and NATO's not calling that out. They're not saying, hey, yo, Carney, what are you doing? Most of the European leaders are complete losers. They're selling out their citizens. They're completely compromised, and then they're all hoity-toity, moral superiority complex.
This thing that was kind of wistful of several months ago is now turning into a focus of NATO. And if you're into conspiracy theories, which I'm not, you might suggest that that's the whole point of what Trump is doing here.
Trump has come out and said it's for national security. We can read between the lines. We all know it's critical minerals because that's where America's weakness is. And he's not going to say that. He has said it in so many ways that they need critical minerals, but he's not going to outward say that that is our extreme weak point to keep our military strong, because that's what it is. If they don't have enough critical minerals and China does have them, and China gets energy, which it needs, that's its weak point. It gets it from other places. That's why they're boosting up their wind and solar and all their renewables, because they need more energy. Then China can build a bigger military than America. And clearly we know from history, whoever has the most toys has the most power in the world. The last thing we need on planet Earth right now is China having a bigger military than the United States of America. Next up, we got Justin Trudeau getting hounded again, this time from a different journalist.
Given that we now know that the lockdown measures in Canada were wrong, do you want to take the opportunity to at least admit that and say sorry to those who were affected? Come on, Justin, it's okay.
Justin Trudeau needs to be prosecuted for breaking the law. He invoked the Emergencies Act. He locked down people's bank account. He needs to be put in jail for his crimes against Canadians.
Okay to get things wrong, as long as, like I said to Tony Blair, it's okay to get things wrong, as long as you admit as such when you get the opportunity. Like, do you not want to take that opportunity? Because not speaking kind of speaks volumes. Or I could maybe frame it. Ignore my question.
Deliberate choice to not talk to you.
Deliberate choice. Why not?
No, Trudeau thinks he destroyed our country and get away with this. It's not over yet.
Why don't you want to talk to a free press? Okay, how about ignore this question if your lockdown measures were authoritarian and wrong? No, nothing?
After that?
So you can tell there's one guy following Trudeau, which is his security. He's just off camera, this guy here. Just one security guard. I wonder if that guy follows him around all the time or if it's just because he's in Davos.
Can you sleep at night?
Is it
or are you worried about what is coming about you?
My cameraman producer makes a good point there that you mentioned LGBT rights are fundamental human rights, but you could argue fundamental human rights means living in a free, civilized society without having to get vaccinated against your choice. Do you not think what you said then is contradictory?
The family is the most important part of society. Why you want?
So these guys just heckle Trudeau for 7 minutes straight here, doing the Lord's work.
To destroy that.
Justin, you started smirking then when I asked you a question about how the fundamental human rights of those who didn't want to get vaccinated. Yet some people have died as a result of this. Is that really a smirking matter?
Why you push the Canada to vaccinate
pushing disinformation the way you have?
What is disinformation?
Irresponsible.
What, that people have...
Wow, pushing disinformation. Look at them hamming up the camera here.
Died.
In Canada to vaccinate.
I'm sorry, but that's not misinformation. My old cameraman's mother actually...
And you pushed them into jail.
My old cameraman's mother actually died after complications from the COVID vaccine. So is that misinformation?
Look at this greaseball. Just ham it up. Oh, Trudeau is just the worst.
Oh, now you're laughing.
Hey, my friend.
I'm George.
Danger of the... You forced your people.
It's a laughing matter what they did to us. Really funny to these guys.
Some business friends from my...
Can you sleep good? With that on your shoulders?